Now to this. After the Portland City Council voted to end the development of a new music venue in the center of the city, people with a stake in what would have become the Portland Music Hall are considering legal action. The City of Portland shared today that they've received a letter asking them to retain all documents associated with the music hall. A group called Portland Music Holdings say that they were legally entitled to create a venue because it complied with all zoning and ordinances. They also claim it would have been a cultural boom to the city, although the effort was largely protested by Portland activists and musicians who felt it would crush the local culture. Portland Music Holdings says pursuing legal action will preserve the integrity of the city's planning process. Now, they also say that the Live Nation Corporation is no longer involved. They've purchased Live Nation's interest in the project and are moving forward independently. The City of Portland offered no comment on the possibility of any litigation. We're continuing our coverage now on the deadly fire and explosion at Robbins Lumber in Searsmont. It happened exactly 2 weeks ago today. For many first responders who answered the call that day, there are emotional and physical scars that are still fresh. According to Maine Health, there are still 5 victims receiving care at Maine Medical Center in Portland. Leaders at the Liberty Volunteer Fire Department and Life Flight of Maine say none of their crew members were seriously injured, but many have been receiving counseling for the emotional trauma they experienced.
We pretty much know most every department and a lot of the members on all the departments. So when something tragic like this happens, and we actually have a personal connection with most of the people that were involved in that call, it does hit home and it is very difficult to process through.
We're one of the only programs in the country that have a full-time mental health clinician on staff. And that's specifically to deal with our staff internally, remove all the barriers that.
According to a statement from the Robbins family mill owners, Alden and Jim Robbins are both continuing to receive care at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. As he campaigns for the Democratic nomination to run for governor this year, Dr. Nirav Shah is sharing the moves he'd make on day one if he wins the office. Shah says he'd sign executive orders into effect that center around 6 core priorities: addressing health care, energy, tribal relations, and the state's relationship with the Trump administration. And Shah says he has a plan to shore up rural health care after several hospitals closed up shop in recent years.
And as governor, I will not stand by while Maine loses its rural healthcare system in real time. This executive order will direct MaineCare to evaluate emergency steps to support at-risk rural hospitals as well as providers. It will review insurance costs, network adequacy, prior authorization, copays, and deductibles. And it will confront the behavioral health workforce head on.
And we're getting a closer look at Secretary of State Shenna Bellows' health care proposal. The Democratic gubernatorial candidate gave details on the plan today in Bangor. Her 8-part New Deal for Healthcare plan calls for working toward universal health care in Maine, recruiting a strong health corps workforce, and protecting access to reproductive health care, among other proposals. Bellows also says she wants to invest in supporting rural health care.
We should be investing in direct operating costs to support our rural hospitals, to support birthing centers, our community-based healthcare centers, the federally qualified healthcare centers. Because you see, it doesn't matter whether 20 people or 200 people visit an ER in a night. We still need to keep the lights on, pay the doctors and the nurses and the staff to keep it open.
Bellows was joined by Chief Clarissa Sabatis of the Holton Band of Maliseets, who announced the Tribal Council is endorsing the secretary for governor. And another rival for the Democratic gubernatorial nomination, former state Senate President Troy Jackson announced his conservation plan today in Augusta. Jackson proposes reestablishing a cabinet-level Department of Conservation to protect public lands, supporting the state's current goal to increase conserved natural and working lands to 30% by 2030, establishing a forest advisory board to ensure all stakeholders have a say in management standards, and banning aerial herbicide spraying in forest, including a certain chemical used in Roundup. Former U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Capitol Hill today, testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee. Bondi was not under oath and the session was not recorded, a move committee Democrats are speaking out against tonight. A coalition of survivors held a press briefing during the session, demanding more accountability, particularly when it comes to the DOJ's initial failure to redact some survivors' names and faces.
Let us be clear. What Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche have done is criminal. They have broken the law.
I think Pam Bondi knows a lot of things that the public doesn't know. And that's the reason why she couldn't turn around to us and acknowledge that we were there the last time. But we are here this time. And we hope that we're going to get some answers. But if we don't, we are going to stay here until we do.
Chair of the House Oversight Committee, Republican James Comer, acknowledged that the government has failed survivors.
The government has failed the survivors. There's no question about that. And that dates back 5 presidential administrations. We're taking this investigation seriously.
Bondi reportedly told lawmakers that the Justice Department made, quote, redaction errors in releasing records related to the Epstein files. She testified that she was assured by her DOJ team that the, quote, only materials that were withheld were either non-responsive, privileged, or duplicative. Lawmakers have spent months seeking to question Bondi about how the Justice Department handled the Epstein files under her leadership. The panel previously subpoenaed Bondi, but once she was ousted, the department argued she could no longer testify in an official capacity. Today, ranking Democrat Robert Garcia told reporters he's requesting to hear more from acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Kash Patel.
The request is going in today to Chairman Comer to have Todd Blanche come in. It's clear that after this testimony, that is where a lot of the information is. And so we're going to, if he doesn't do it, we're going to force a subpoena and try to get votes, but he's got to come in. The finger was pointed back at Kash Patel, and so we have questions for Kash Patel as well.
Committee members say a transcript of Bondi's full interview will be released sometime soon.